Hello, everyone. I'm Erin, and welcome back to the Hold On Till Dawn podcast. Today's episode is celebrating the 1-year anniversary of the September 23rd, 2023 benefit concert that was in Somerville, Massachusetts last year. If you're watching on YouTube, it's this one with the poster that Andy had made. And it is crazy to think that that concert was a year ago. If you're listening to this episode the day it comes out, it's the 24th, which is a day after the 1-year anniversary. And this year just went by so fast. It's crazy that this was an entire year ago. And the planning process for it had started, I think, around November of 2022. So it was almost a full year of planning. And then the concert happened. And then the next day, it was all over. And I was just like on cloud nine because it was just such a great night. So the day of the show, I was so much more calm and peaceful and relaxed than I was for the show in Delaware, because the Delaware show was my first one. I didn't really know what to expect. And also there were kind of a lot of factors that were weighing on my nerves. Like we talked about with some of my guests, how there was like a marathon going on in the front. And so the sound check times and the load in times kind of got rearranged at the last minute. And it was just unfamiliar territory hosting a benefit concert, so I didn't really know what to expect. So the second one, a lot of my friends and family were there, which helped, and also knowing kind of what to expect because I had done it the year before. So we got there early. The only problem we had that I can remember was when we first got there, the doors were locked, and in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, we have so much we have to set up, because we had a banner that we were going to use for VIP photos that we had to set up. We had a bunch of raffle baskets that I needed to make sure that there were tables there for us to put them on. I needed to make sure there were merch tables for the artists. I needed to make sure there was a table for the AFSP. And then I needed to make sure that the seating was the way I wanted it, because I had 2 rows in the front for VIP, and then the general admission was going to be behind that, either sitting or standing. The room was huge compared to Delaware, was a lot smaller. This was a huge space. It had a main floor, and then it also had a balcony. So once we finally were able to get in, we set everything up. I think the first person that arrived was Grace, maybe. And so I got to meet her for the first time, and she was really sweet. And I showed her where her dressing room, waiting room area would be. And I met Jared shortly after. Johnny showed up sometime around then. Alexz showed up, and then Drew. And they each had a time slot to do a sound check. So they each performed about 2 songs just to try to make sure that their levels were right and everything was the way that they wanted it to sound. And then Heather from the AFSP showed up, and she started setting up her table. And then time was moving so fast. Like, honestly, this whole part just kind of feels like a blur. And then before we knew it, it was time for the VIP doors. So I believe we were still sound checking Alexz at this point, and VIP was waiting outside, and we were supposed to be starting photos, but for whatever reason, soundcheck was like running behind a little bit, which I think is kind of normal in the music industry. So we got Johnny and Grace and Drew and Jared set up in front of the banner to get ready for photos. And then finally Alexz came over. We took a couple shots before VIP came in with me and my friends, and Then we opened up the doors and VIP came in, met the artists, got their photo with them, and then got to look around at the raffle tables and the merch and the AFSP table. And then they could find a spot up front. And then once that was done, the artists went wherever they were going to be until their time on stage. And general admission was able to come in, and then the show started, and the first artist was Alexz, and she performed with her guitar, and it was awesome. And then after Alexz was Jared, I believe, and then Jared also performed with his guitar. After Jared was Johnny, and he had Robbie on stage doing his like DJing mixing. And then it was Drew, and Drew performed some songs from High School Musical and his own original songs, and that was really fun because my friends and I knew his High School Musical stuff. Obviously that was our generation's that was our era, High School Musical. So that was really fun to sing and dance to that. And then after Drew we did the raffle basket announcements. And I think I talked about it in my planning episode, but we had raffle baskets from The Patriots, Intelligent Change, Zoo New England, Bubble, Remnant Brewing, Gaiam, Olive and June, Venture Pal USA, Little Words Project, Rainbow OPTX, and Pinch Me Therapy Dough. And that was really exciting to be able to have those donations because it helped us raise an additional amount of money to put to donate towards the AFSP. So after we gave out the baskets to the winners, then it was Grace's turn. And Grace performed her set, and then she was the closing act, and then that was it. And it was really awesome because each artist had their own genre of music and their own style, and no two of them were the same. And it was awesome to be able to experience all 5 of them in one show, because if you had listened to the episode I had with Andy, he kind of talked about how it felt like a mini music festival, and it kind of was because the artists were all so different musically, and it was just nice to be able to enjoy each one. I think their sets were about a half hour each, so it was a nice little sample mini concert for each of them, and I loved that about it. I loved that the AFSP was so involved, the Massachusetts chapter. Heather had given swag bags to all the musicians, and that was a really special touch. She gave me one too. I got a hat that said Hope and a shirt that says Demand More for Mental Health. And it just felt very special and connected, and it was a great night, and I will always hold it in my heart fondly. It was also the night I got engaged, so right now it's a little bittersweet because of how everything ended, and that will kind of always be the day that I got engaged, but I want to remember it more for what it had been. What it was supposed to be was just this amazing benefit concert, and that is what I will hold fondly in my heart, that was what September 23rd, 2023 was an amazing concert that I put together almost entirely by myself with the help of these musicians, the AFSP Massachusetts, and my friends and family. So to anyone that came out to that show, I want to say thank you because you made a huge difference. And it was really special to have you there, and I'm so grateful to have your support. And as of now, there are still no plans to have a benefit concert in the future. That may change now that I'm not planning a wedding. It's kind of weird not to be planning anything after having my focus on planning benefit concerts for the last couple of years, because the one that was in 2022 started planning in 2019. So it has been several years of me planning concerts. So it's a little weird to sit here right now and not be planning something. And I was so set on never doing it again, but who knows, maybe one day I will decide that I would like to try another one, but as of right now, it's still a no, and I'm just kind of settling into this phase of my life this season and focusing on this podcast. And I'm really grateful for everyone that listens every week. It really means a lot. Every single listener means something to me, and I hope I'm making a difference in what I'm talking about and letting you know that there is support out there and you're not alone and we're all in this together. Yeah, so I think that's about everything. Next week's episode will be October 1st, which will be closing out Mental Health Awareness Month. And I'm excited about that, to talk about how my September has gone. And yeah. So thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Thank you so much for listening. Our website is holdontilldawn.com, and our email is holdontilldawn@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram at holdontilldawn and on Facebook at Hold On Till Dawn Benefit Concert. See you next time.